Good morning. Today is Monday, April 29, 1996. It's about 6:45 in the morning, and here we are on board the Ryndam, getting ready to cross the Panama Canals. And right here, we are just situated inside the breakwater, about 1 mile inside the breakwater. On our port side, we do have the town of Cristobal, and right in front of us, as you just seen, this is our sister ship, the Ryndam. Today, what we're going to be doing, we're going to cross the Panama Canal. We're going to go over about 50 miles. This is the length of the Panama Canal. We're going to go from the Atlantic to the Pacific. And right here, we are waiting for instruction again in order to follow the Ryndam and to continue into our first lock, the Gatun locks. This is a very special video production that we're doing specially today, again Monday, on board the Ryndam, and we're going to capture all the action and the live operation of the crossing, as well as the locomotives, the locks, and we're going to narrate everything as we go along with the facts and history of the canal. This special video will be available for purchase for guests of the Ryndam. They will be in the Hudson room daily between 7 to midnight through the art auctioneer. And right now again, we're going to continue and get some of the shots outside before we are going through the first lock, the Gatun locks. Trinidad 2, this is the second tugboat that's going to pull us throughout the canal. As you saw the first tugboat, and this is the second tugboat, they're going to guide us through into the first set of locks, the Gatun locks. The crossing of the Panama Canal is a voyage within a voyage. From the open ocean, the ship will surrounded by jungles, mountains and cities. From sea level, our vessel will travel up and down through one of the world's greatest engineering achievements. We go from one ocean that touches continents near and far to another ocean with entirely new destination. And here we are, as you can see, approaching the Gatun locks, and heavy rain caught us. We're trying to get the best footage for you. As you can see, it's pretty much rainy outside, but you can see that our route is bordered by lush forests and mountains. The country of Panama is the end of the chain that includes the Rocky Mountain in North America and the beginning of the Andes Mountain, Los Andes, which run throughout South America. Our voyage will take us within sites of range with the more than 3,000 meter high approximately, that include both mountains and volcano. And right now, as you can see, we are seeing some of the very lush and green of the country of Panama. Pretty soon we're going to see the old canal, and we're going to tell you all about the old canal and how the French attempted to build the canal. The idea of the Panama Canal began centuries before it opened. The conquistador suggested the canal in 1524 as a way to quickly bring riches of the New World back to the King of Spain. But the politics and religion at that time stopped the idea. With one man says, "What was joined by God, no man should separate."
Located over the Pacific side.
Right in the rain, right in front of us, we see the Ryndam, our sister ship. There is 2 chambers for the canal. She's going into the left chambers. We're going to go into the right chambers, and we're going to cross through the 50 miles canal together with the Ryndam. On the left, you see the green lights that given us the okay to go ahead and to cross and to go through the first set of locks, the Gatun locks.
7 3/4 miles.
Starboard side of the ship, we see the old canal, which was the next attempt at building a passage. It was the work of Ferdinand de Lesseps, who had just completed the Suez Canal and thought that Panama would be his next agenda. Colombia, which owned the territory at that time, gave him the job in 1878. The Lesseps soon learned that Panama was not Egypt. Swamps and jungle filled with diseases, long rainy season, and poor equipment doomed the Lesseps to failure. By the time he quit, he had built only 18 miles of canal after 7 years of work. And of course, we're going to tell you the story about the American building the canal just a little bit sooner. And here we are in front of us on the left chambers is the Staten Dam, and this is the first set of locks. We arrive at the Gatun locks. They will raise the ship 85 feet above sea level. From this lock, we will travel along the Gatun Lake and then on to Gillard Cut and through the Pedro Miguel locks. Finally, our journey will take us through the Miraflores locks, which will lower us the ship back to the sea levels, going up 85 feet and then going down 85 feet back to the Pacific. And as you can see, again on the left is the green light and also other land light to guide us through. And as we get very close, you will see that there's an arrow that will actually target the ships either to go onto the right chamber or to go onto the left chamber. As I mentioned earlier, 2 tugboats are leading the Staten Dam as well as us through the canal. We can see the one of the tugboats behind the Staten Dam as she is in the left chambers. Also earlier today, a Panamanian pilot boarded a ship along with a narrator that is on the bridge and Panamanian rope handlers. The rope handlers must be natives of Panama and they must train between 3 to 6 months. They're down in the rope deck and they have a very, very important job, and we're going to see some of it as we go along, as we're going to attach to the electric mules.
Now, when the blueprints were all made up in the U.S. to build these locks, with tremendous amount of foresight, the lock chambers we were going to be 1,000.
In front of us on the left chamber, there is the Staten Dam, powered by her own engine, entering the first chamber of the Gatun locks. And right underneath us, this is the rowboat. And what these guys are doing, they're basically pulling up the rope, and from the ship, the rope handler are going to throw a rope over to them, and these ropes are going to connect the cables to the mules, to the electric mules, to the locomotives. They use rowboat versus a engine boat that the ropes and the cables will not get again complicated with the engine, and this is things that they're probably not going to change. And here they are, they're just going to get the ropes, throwing that to them and pull them up to pull the cables to the locomotive. Here we are on our port side, the left side right here. We see some of the locals, the native of Panama, also waiting for us to go through the canal. Before we even get attached to the locomotive, to the electric mules, you see that the first locks are opening right in front of us. Our level is the same level as the first chambers, the first set of the first chamber, and we're going to be guided in to the right, to the starboard side of the ship. Right over to the right, you see 2 or 3 other locomotives. And as we get closer, also they're going to be attached. Again, there'll be about 3 from the front and about 2 from the back, from each side of the ship, guiding us through the canal. On our starboard side, we see the electric mules, the locomotive, tied up and pulling the ship into the canal. It's quite very interesting. The ship actually powered by her own motor, and those locomotives basically they own use as a guide. And as you can see, each one of them have a driver, and those are the cables that connect. We have 2 in the front, as I mentioned earlier, and we have two in the right hand side, two in the left hand side, and again the ones that are in the... On our port side we see the Statendam, and again the locomotive as he ties in the back of the ship. We have the Harding, one of the oldest tugboat, as well with him, and the lock door are closing behind the Statendam. The next step gonna be that the water gonna rise up and lift the ship up to the next level. Okay.
Fascinating.
And there we are, there they are, the happy passenger of the Statendam, alongside with us in the first chamber of the Gatun locks. The lock door behind us just closed, and as you've seen, we also had a sailboat taking a ride with us, and the Statendam is already higher. The water lift her up, and she's advancing into the second level or the second chamber of the Gatun locks. And on the same time, the water level are raising us up in order to equal to the water level on the second chambers. Then our lock door in front of us will be open and we're going to move forward. And right in front of us, the first set of the lock door are opening right now. Each one of these doors is 60 feet wide and 7 feet thick. They range in a height from 47 to 82 feet high and can weigh anywhere from 390 to 730 tons. It takes about 2 minutes for the doors to open and shut, as you can see, although they can complete the process in about 1 minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to move into the middle lock chamber of the lock, and here's the rate level.
We are situated in the second chamber, and as you can see, the locomotive went up, and right now the water is going to come in and the ship is going to be raised up. The locomotive are ready to pull us over to the second, or the last actually, chamber of the... On the port side of the ship is the lock control tower. At each lock, these towers contain exact replicas of the canal. The replicas show the same activity that is happening at the lock outside the towers. It is a double safety feature for the operators, giving them as I mentioned, this gives the operator an exact control of everything that is happening in the canal. And this is, again, the Getun lock control tower. Today, the Panama Canal is an important part of the world's transportation system, with 14,000 vessels passing through each year. The canal has been under the administration of the United States since it was opened in August 15, 1914. But it will be controlled by the Panamanian or by the Panama Canal Commission in the beginning or in the end of this century. And as you see again, the locomotive are pulling us through. This is going to be the last chamber. The water is going to raise up, and we're going to go back to the back of the ship right now in order to get a view from the back and see how the door is closing behind us. Right now we went back to the back of the ship, and we see one of the locomotives and one of the happy drivers, the local Panamanian locomotives. This locomotive actually, they're only guiding us. They're not really pulling the ship. The ship uses their own power. These ensured, again, they call mules, and as I mentioned, they never carry the full ship. Their job is to help to guide the ship through the narrow passage. These mules are built in Japan by Mitsubishi, and they are sold for $1.2 million. We're gonna pan right into the right, and we're gonna see, first of all, we're gonna see the sailboat that ran behind us, and these are the doors. They're gonna close behind us. Just think of the fact that each one of those leaves of each door could weigh 750 tons, and there they are closing behind us. And now, by using of time-lapse photography, we're going to show you the actual raise of the ship as the water are filling up the chamber. And this is it. We have raised ourselves, the water is raised up for the last level, and we are 85 feet above sea level, above the Atlantic, and we are right now in the back of the ship, and we are in the rope deck area where the rope handlers are here, and we are seeing again the locomotives waiting for us to move forwards into the level of the lake. As you can see, the cables are attached in the back of the ship to the locomotive in the back, and we see the Panamanian rope handlers. Those are the local rope handlers, as we mentioned earlier. They're getting ready to release the cables in order to release us from the locomotive that is in the back. You can see that the locomotive that pulled the Ryndam are going back, since we do have another cruise ship right in the back, a princess ship that's gonna cross the canal right after us. We're still in the rope deck waiting for the release of the cables and the release of the locomotive in the back of the ship. This is a very special angle to show you how close we are to the edge of the canal, and this is only a few inches that left us between the ship and the sides of the lock. And right in front of us, in the lake already, in the Canal Lake, this is the Staten Dam. We're gonna pan over to the left, and we're gonna see the first locomotive. This is a monument here. It says US 644. This is the first locomotive that they used when they opened the canal in August 15, 1914. The last set of lock behind us, in the last chamber, as you can see, we are in the level of the lake, of the Gatun Lake. We are releasing the cables, and the cables are running down to the locomotives. The locomotive will stop. That's the one on the starboard side, and it's the one on the port side. We cannot get too close. It's pretty dangerous here. We cannot get too close to the locomotive. Now, after the rope was released, you can see the cables are going up and back to the locomotive, the one and the second one, and they're going to be pulled back and go back to their station in the beginning of the canal. We're going to pan over to left behind the ship, and we see the gray and white building. This is one of the major fire stations that the canal has. The Panama Canal Commission always makes safety a priority. We are entering right now the Gatun Lake, and we're going to pass the Gatun Dam in any moment now. We're going to go to the front of the ship and take a look from there. We just entered the Gatun Lake. In front of us is the Staten Dam and the little sailboat that's still with us behind. And as we pan over to the right, you can see the very lush tropical site of Panama, the jungles, the mountains, and over to the starboard side, over to the right, this is the Gatun Dam. This dam was built on the Chagres River to form the Gatun Lake. The Chagres is the main source of fresh water for Panama City and Colon City. Until the Hoover Dam was built in Nevada and formed Lake Mead, the Gatun was the largest man-made lake in the world. And again, the Chagres River is the source of all the fresh waters that actually give the supply or give the Panama Canal its power. The two wings of the dam and the spillway have the total length of 1.5 miles and are 100 feet wide at their highest point. The top of the dam is 105 feet above sea level, which is 20 feet above the level of the lake. We're going to continue in the Gatun Lake approximately for 2 hours, then we're going to get to Gamboa and the entrance of the Gillard Cut. That's going to be our next shoot, which we're going to capture for you. And again, we're going to continue showing the travel of the Ryndam through the canal, through the Pedro Miguel locks, and as well Miraflores lock.
Ilan, should I get in your movie?
Engine draft year-round, so that has been a tremendous improvement in our canal operation. At this time we can see the housing facilities that we have here at Gamboa, owned by the Canal organization itself. We store water in the wet season to replenish the water to get to a lake in the dry season. So ladies and gentlemen, right now on our port side, we have the Gamboa Bridge underneath which the Chagres River enters the canal, and in the background of the bridge, the Chagres River. In front of us you can see the white ranges with the black crosses in the center, and right next to it we also have white markers with the black vertical line in the center. Now you must remember that these ranges has a very important meaning to our canal pilots where navigation is concerned.
Right in front of us you see something that look like giant kites, and those basically are signs, to navigating signs actually, that when the ships are coming through they are warned the ship from any sharp turns or giving them direction. We're gonna see those signs as we go along throughout the Gillard Cut, and here we are in the Gillard Cut. We're gonna pan a bit to the right and see that the Staten Dam is just ahead of us in the Gillard Cut.
During the canal construction days,
as we're going through the Gillard Cut, you see some of the works that they still do through here, through the main channels here. In order to maintain the canal, they actually what they do is they need to assure that there will be a draft of 39.5 feet even in the dry season. So what they do is a constant dredging right here in the canal, and it's not cheap. They spend over $450 million each year for the overall operation of the canal, which nearly 100 million is committed to maintaining and improving all the waterways, as you can see here. And this is again some of the work that you can see, and in front of us this is as well the Staten Dam, still in front of us. And again, we would like to remind everybody this is a special, this is the official video of the Panama Canal's crossing, specially produced for the guests of the Ryndam, that they have the opportunity to view and to keep the memories of this special crossing. Again, we will be including from the Gatun Lake through from the Gatun Locks through the lake over. Right now we're going to the Miraflores Locks and San Pedro and Pedro Miguel Locks, and all of it gonna be into one video, including these narrations that we are going through. If you are interested, you may obtain your copy. You made reservation tonight in the Hudson Room between 7 and midnight through the Art Auctioneer. And as we're going along, we're going to pan over, and again next we're going to be overing, we're going to get to the end of the Gillard Cut pretty soon. We're going to see the plaque that were made for the workers of the canal, and then later on we will enter the Pedro Miguel Locks, which the ship will be lowered 31 feet.
Is on the face of Contractors Hill that we have at the starboard side. You can see that following us, for those of you that are on the stern of this vessel, we have the large Sky Princess is following us, ladies and gentlemen, towards the Pacific locks. So they are 3 passenger ships in line going through the Panama Canal today. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we have just arrived at the Continental Divide. Once again, go in on our port, Contractors Hill, on our starboard.
Is now crossing the Continental Divide. between Cerro de Oro, or the Gold Hill, and the Contractor Hill. Contractor Hill is on our starboard side, and Cerro de Oro we're panning over to the left to our port side. As this section ends, we reach the Pedro Miguel locks, which will lower the ship 31 feet into Miraflores Lake, which coming up right around the corner of Cerro de Oro. From here, we will reach the Miraflores Lock after the Miraflores Lake. As we're going through the Gillard Cut, you probably notice on each side of the ship we have lights. And those lights actually is because the canal is a 24-hour operation. In the beginning it was only a 12-hour operation, but today ships, actually 14,000 of them each year, are crossing here 24 hours a day. And right here on the Construction Hill we see the plaque. And this plaque was created in 1928 in the memory of those who died while building the canal. Actually, 5,609 people lost their lives in the creation of the Panama Canal. And this plaque is in the memory of all those people.
We'd like to just say hello to all the passengers on the MS Ryndam as we're approaching the Pedro Miguel locks. We hope you enjoy your journey through the Panama Canal, and we hope to see you around the ship soon. This is Craig, your assistant cruise director, and the cruise staff is with me here.
Hi, my name's Jane. I'd like to wish you all a wonderful day here in the Panama Canal. I hope you get all the excitement that you were looking for here today, and have a pleasant journey with the rest of your trip.
Hi, my name is Bridget, and as I'm the international crew staff, I won't say anything else in English. Ik wens jullie allemaal een hele leuke dag in het Panama-kanaal vandaag. Und für die deutsch sprechenden Gäste einen schönen Tag im Panama-Kanal.
And I'm John from the crew staff as well. I hope you enjoy your trip through the Panama Canal in the only language that I speak, and have a great day.
Bye!
And here we are approaching the Pedro Miguel locks, and on the right, Ryndam is on the right chamber. The gates are closing behind her on the first chamber over here. The arrow, the red and green arrows, give us the sign to go over to the left chambers, as you saw it also in the other locks. And here we have the rowboat again coming up in order to pull up the lines and connect the cables, and we have 4 locomotives lining up on the starboard side, and another 4 locomotives lining up on the port side in order again to guide us through the Pedro Miguel locks. And there you are, the Panamanian rope handlers. They are pulling the rope right now after the the rowboat connected the rope over there. He's going to give the rope over to the first locomotive, and then that's the way they're going to be connecting the cables. The cable going to be pulled over to the ship and attached to the ship. The locomotives in the front of the ship are pulling, the ships are pulling those cables, and we would like to express some of the operation that the American did in the creation of the canal. And we're going back a little bit over to 1903. After the Lesseps construction failure, a new attempt was started by the United States. The US has just been successful in the Spanish-American War and was dominating the Caribbean. Through both military action and politics, President Theodore Roosevelt helped America take control of the project. And we can definitely say that Roosevelt was one of the main personnel that actually he was responsible in creating the canal. With a new route that included a lock system to lift and lower ships, the American began the massive construction project in 1904. The success of the effort was due to the US Corps of Army Engineers, the American administrators, along with their strong organization, modern engineering, and the ability to fight the malaria. Nothing was spared in the construction. Large digging machines were imported from Louisiana. Tons of dynamite were used to clear the hills and passages. Thousands of workers were hired. At that time, the canal cost $639 million, which would equal to more than $7 billion in today's money. In August 15, 1914, the first ship made the first official voyage through the Panama Canal. For the first time in history, there was a direct passage between the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. And today, the Ryndam doing the same thing, and in front of us is the Dam. Again, this is a little brief historical points on how the American constructed the canal. And as we go along and we are lowering ourselves 31 feet, we're going to tell you some of the facts that involved. Right in front of us, the locks behind the Dam is closed, and although the door of the locks are huge, they are also buoyant. They are so easy to move that they only require a 92 40 horsepower engines for opening and closing. One of these engines produce about half of the power needed to drive a small Volkswagen. And as you can see here, there's actually double doors over there. They are closing out, and the Dam already went down 31 feet. We are advancing, and the water is gonna come out of our chamber in any second now. Well, how big of a ship can pass through the locks? Each vessel that go through must have at least 11 inches of clearance on each side to travel the canal. Well, as you can see, it doesn't leave much room to a modern ship. On the right chambers, after the Dam left, the water rising up back again in order to receive the ship that is behind us. And actually the water that comes out to enter the lock, they don't need any help of machinery. No pumps are needed in this procedure, using only gravity for filling and emptying. The motor move through tunnels which are 18 feet in diameter. It's about an Amtrak railroad tunnel, and it is almost a full width of a Amtrak railroad tunnel. And as you can see, the water are filling out, and again, no pumps are needed. Actually, the entire amount of water that are being used on one day of crossing of a ship, or in one time crossing of a ship through the canal, is the amount of water that can supply the entire city of Boston. Fresh water, of course, from the mighty Chagres River.
31 feet, and this approaching the west side. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that we're on the way out. We ought to have a sailboat and one of the canal tunnels. You heard this a few seconds ago for dogs to take pictures and the like. But something to say about the very slow process. Remember that it's a very we can handle through the Panama Canal. 6%. That's the reason why that we have a tripartite commission, a recommendation of the next few years from now. What would be the best decision? Whether we want to have a sea level canal or whether we want to have a third mile project. The sea level canal, scientists are not very much against it because of the ecological differences between the two oceans. They might never be a sea level canal. But remember, I did mention before that the U.S. has begun construction of a third mile project.
We are making our way out of the Pedro Miguel locks, and before the lock door opened, if you notice in front of them, the water came out, the water spilled out. And again, about 3 million gallons a minute. This is the amount of water that's coming out of these huge tunnels, and we are right now passing by the control tower. As we mentioned, there are exact replicas of what's going on right here on land inside those control towers. We have two locomotives, PCC 16 and PCC 30, guiding us. They're gonna slide down and come to our level, and then again they're gonna be we're gonna release the cables, and we are entering the lake, the Miraflores Lake, which is gonna be leading us to the Miraflores, the last locks, the Miraflores lock. Actually, regarding those locks, if the Panama Canal locks themselves were stood upright in place end to end, they probably would be the world's tallest structure, with a capacity to hold at least 3 statues of liberty on the top of each other, and still have a room for a couple of Chevys. And we are back in the rope deck, done this time on the front of the ship, and there they are. They are releasing the cables of the locomotives, the locomotive on the port side. And there they are again, the Panama Canal rope handlers. And this is the locomotive on our right side, the starboard side of the ship. We're seeing the release of the port side, and in a minute they will release this locomotive, and we'll make our way into the Miraflores Lake. We're gonna go to the back of the ship right now and watch the Princess ships as she's lowered down, and we'll try to get a good view of the waters coming out of the chamber. And here we are in the back of the ship. We're seeing the Princess ship that's actually going down as we speak, and you can see the huge amount of water that's coming out. As we mentioned, about 3 million gallons a minute coming out from those huge tunnels, each one of them like an Amtrak railway tunnels, as we mentioned earlier. And speaking about the ships that are coming through, a very important factor or interesting factor that everyone pays in order to go through the Panama Canal, they pay a toll. The largest toll that was ever paid was $141,000. On the other hand, the smallest toll that was ever paid was an Englishman that paid 36 cents to swim the canal in 1928. The MS Ryndam paid over $125,000.
So, ladies and gentlemen, at this time you can have a better view.
And right in front of us we see the Ryndam entering the Miraflores locks. We are in the Miraflores Lake at the moment. Planning to the right above, behind those hills in front of us, you can see the Bridge of the Americas. And this is the bridge that go over the exit or the entrance, depends where you come from, of the Panama Canal. The city of Balboa on the starboard side, and as we will go through, keep a good eye on the port side, you will see the high-rise and Panama City as well. But first we have to go through the Miraflores locks. As a finale for our trip through the Panama Canal, we came over to the bridge of the Ryndam. And here we are, and the Ryndam is already going through. We are entering the last locks, the Miraflores locks, and we are on the bridge. On our left side, or on the port side, we have the pilot, the Panamanian pilot, or the Panamanian official pilot, as well as with the other bridge officer navigating the ship again inside our last set of locks. The Ryndam has one of the most sophisticated bridge equipment, and for example we are looking right now on the GPS, the global positioning system, and which actually tells our position through also a satellite. As well, we are panning over to the left, and we were able to see some of the radars and the sonars. As the ship goes through the Panama Canal, a Panamanian or sometimes even two Panamanian pilots are boarding the ship, and they are the one actually that gives the ship their positions, and they're guiding the ship through the Panama Canal. In front of us is the Ryndam, the Miraflores locks built of two different chambers. Each one of them gonna lower us 27 feet until our final destination to the Pacific Ocean. And you can also see the Ryndam is already in the last one, and you can see the water rising up already on the one that you just left. We are entering the first one, and the doors will be closing in front of us pretty soon. And again, we are on the bridge of the Ryndam right now. In this opportunity, I would like to thank the captain and as well as all the other officials on the ship and the bridge officer to give us the opportunity in this busy time to come on the bridge and take this footage for the official video of the Panama Canal. The bridge has two pilots, one on each wing, the starboard and the port side. And what you're viewing right now, this is how the Panamanian pilot, this is his view from our starboard side wing of the bridge, and that's the way he controls and navigates us, because since we are entering the locks, it's a very, very narrow clearance and they must keep it very tight. Right in front of us, you see that the Ryndam are lowering their last 27 feet. We are getting ready to do so as well, our first 27 feet. You might have noticed, but the Miraflores locks, they are slightly larger than all the other locks, and the reason for that is with the different tides in the Pacific Ocean. Again, this is what gave the Panama Canal officials the reason to make those locks higher than all the others. And the Ryndam is just leaving right now the Miraflores, the last sets of the lock, and making her way to the Pacific.
We are in the Miraflores locks. What's the most impressive to you, William?
The fact that we had to wait for their electric power to come on to go through the locks.
What about yourself? Were you impressed as you went through there?
Oh, I was really impressed, but this lush green scenery is perfect. I love it.
Great, absolutely great tour here. Enjoyed it. We're having a wonderful time. Would you like to say something? Look into the camera, sir?
No.
No? Bye-bye.
Since we had to wait for in order to enter the west chamber, the princess ship that were behind us, she make a little bit of time here, and she just right next to us. She's a little bit higher than us because we already lowered almost the full 27 feet in order to get into the second chamber in the Miraflores locks. And as you can see also the sailboat that were behind us earlier in front of us. The water level are going to be equalized in a second. The doors will be open and we're going to go through again to the second chamber. The lock door are open right in front of us, and the sailboat is the first one to go through. Again, keep in mind those doors are buoyant and only operated by a 92 of them, 40 horsepower engines. We're gonna follow them through right now, and at the same time, the chambers right next to us, also the doors are also opening, and the princess ship gonna make her way through. We are actually going through together, and gonna make our way into the Pacific. On December 31st, 1999, this is the time when the United States of America are going to hand over the Panama Canal over to the Panamanian. Today, about $10 million is spent each year in training programs to prepare Panamanians for the operation and the maintenance of the canal. Also today, the Panamanians comprise more than 87% of the canal's officials, workers, and occupy position in high skill area vital to the canal organization. And again, in 99, all this operation gonna go over to the Panamanians. interesting to notice as the Princess ship is crossing next to us, the very narrow clearance that the Princess ship have in the canal, much smaller than ours. And this is, we're getting ready to descend another 27 feet, and on the left side and the right side we are noticing this is the swinging bridge. This swinging bridge is not in use anymore and used to actually connect the Panamanian highway, and you can see that connection today. Of course, what they use mainly is the bridge of the Americas. As we're gonna cross through, as we're gonna make our way to the Pacific, we're gonna go under the bridge of the Americas. One of the last shots that we are making right now before ending this spectacular view and video of our crossing through the canal is the water coming out of this huge tunnel. See how they're coming out, see how much foam they're making and everything. This is, again, as we mentioned earlier, 3 million gallons a minute. And on the same time, we are descending in order to bring us to the level of the Pacific. We went to the back of the ship to get the last shot, the last view from the back of the ship. These are the huge lock doors right here, and in the back we can see the Pedro Miguel locks and the Miraflores Lake, and we're gonna go and close up this video in the front of the ship. And here we are traveling, and we are out of the last set of lock, and we are on our way to the Pacific. We have traveled the length of the canal and seen one of the man's greatest engineering achievements. The Panama Canal is an impressive and important today as when it was opened in 1914. Like the thousands of voyagers who have traveled before us and the thousand who will pass through the canal in the future, we have been grateful to have taken this voyage within a voyage. It definitely was a great day on board the Ryndam here to went through this wonderful experience. And again, this special video production will be broadcast in each one of the cabins approximately every night. And if you would like to obtain a copy, make a reservation for this copy of one of these official Panama Canal video cassettes, you may do so in the Hudson Room daily between 7 to 12 through the auctioneer. Again, we'd like to thank you and have a great rest of the voyage on board the Ryndam.